One of the games about to dominate this chart isn't a shooter, isn't an RPG, and isn't even really a game. It's an idle app that sits in your Windows taskbar, and it just beat almost everything else on Steam. The actual all-time record for a single game on this platform has stood untouched for 8 straight years. This is the fight for Steam's throne, one game at a time. For the first few years of this chart, 2 games trade the crown almost by default: Dota 2 and Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Dota 2 gets there first, pushing past 500,000 concurrent players by the mid-2010s and holding the top spot for years. CSGO climbs more slowly, methodically, on the back of the exact same gameplay loop it launched with in 2012, and it's still growing steadily even now, which matters later in the story. Then, in September 2017, everything changes. PUBG, a battle royale nobody outside a niche modding community had heard of a year earlier, knocks Dota 2 off the top spot, crossing 1.3 million concurrent players almost overnight. In January 2018, it sets a number that still stands today, 8 full years later. 3,257,248 players all online at the exact same moment. PUBG's dominance doesn't last long, its player count falls off a cliff within a couple of years, but that single record has never been touched.
Here's a genuinely bizarre one. Among Us launches quietly back in 2018 and sits almost completely unnoticed for 2 full years. Then, in August and September of 2020, thanks to a handful of big Twitch and YouTube streamers picking it up during lockdown, it explodes to over 400,000 concurrent players in a matter of weeks. It's proof that on Steam, a 2-year-old game can become the biggest thing in gaming overnight, if the timing lines up right.
The early 2020s turn into an arms race of massive single-day launches. Cyberpunk 2077 arrives in December 2020 with over 1 million concurrent players on day 1, despite a famously rocky launch. Elden Ring nearly matches that number in February 2022. Lost Ark launches the same month and briefly becomes one of the biggest games on Steam, crossing 1.3 million players before falling away almost as fast as it rose. Hogwarts Legacy and Sons of the Forest both post enormous February 2023 launches within weeks of each other. And Baldur's Gate 3 in August 2023 launches huge, and unlike almost everything else in this section, barely fades at all. A pattern becomes impossible to ignore by the mid-2020s. Nearly every game that reaches the top of this chart on a sustained basis is free to play. In September 2023, Counter-Strike 2 replaces CSGO and drops the price to 0, and its numbers climb, eventually setting a franchise record of 1.86 million concurrent players in April 2025. Apex Legends, Destiny 2, and Marvel Rivals all follow the same playbook. Paid games increasingly can't compete with that math. Black Myth Wukong shows up in August 2024 and breaks every assumption about what a single-player game can do. It's not multiplayer, it's not free. It's a Chinese action RPG almost nobody in the West had heard of 6 months earlier, and it hits 2.4 million concurrent players, a record for any single-player game on Steam ever. Monster Hunter Wilds comes close the following February. These two prove a genuinely great single-player game can still outdraw entire multiplayer genres for a few explosive weeks. Not every game here is about a huge launch spike. Rust takes the opposite approach. Years of slow, steady growth with no single dramatic moment, quietly outlasting dozens of games that launched bigger and faded faster. Valheim and New World take the riskier path instead. A massive opening month, then a sharp decline as curiosity moves on to whatever launches next. December 2024 delivers one more surprise. Path of Exile 2 launches into early access and rockets to 600,000 concurrent players almost immediately. Proof a dedicated fanbase can turn a sequel launch into one of the biggest weeks on the entire platform. Which brings us to the strangest entry on this entire chart. In 2026, a game called TBH, Taskbar Hero, an idle game that runs inside your Windows taskbar, launches and pulls in over 500,000 concurrent players within weeks, briefly landing at number 2 on all of Steam. Nobody in the industry predicted it. It's the clearest sign yet that on this chart, genre and budget matter far less than anyone wants to admit. 14 years, 29 games, and one record that's refused to fall for 8 straight years. PUBG's 3.26 million players in January 2018. Free-to-play shooters rule the long game. Massive single-player launches can still shock everyone for a few weeks, and every so often, something nobody saw coming climbs to the very top for reasons that have nothing to do with marketing budgets at all. So, which game do you think finally breaks PUBG's record? Drop your guess in the comments and subscribe.